Hey guys, I want to make a video about something that was just on my mind. That's usually what I do. I like to make videos on topics that, I'm processing myself or just thinking about. And one of them that I'm thinking about right now is what I call getting bitten by the steroid vampire, which just like a vampire, when you get bitten, there's no going back, right? You have to be your vampire for the rest of your life. And just like on steroids, once you start, you're pretty well taking steroids, well, most people are, the rest of their life, either because now you're dependent on exogenous forms of hormones for your well-being, unless you just totally go cold turkey and you're shut down for like months at a time, and maybe it'll come back. But most people don't do that. And the second reason that you're getting bit by the vampire, I call it, is because you're literally it's a dependence, and it can be an addiction, and it's just something that becomes now part of your identity. It's just something that is part of you now. That's what you do. That's who you are. You're somebody who takes steroids now. So there's the double component to that. I'll address the first aspect of it, which is obviously when you decide to go on exogenous form of testosterone, but as well other compounds, it will shut you down, some more aggressively than others. But if you're on testosterone for a certain period of time and you don't come off and take HCG right away and whatnot, which most people don't do. Most people might have the idea that they're just going to do one cycle and then go off just to try it out, but then once they're on it, they stay on it again, getting kind of bitten by that vampire. So it becomes evident within like a few months that you become shut down. There is some hypogonadism, which is atrophy of the testicles, that happen. And but some people are afraid of that, like, oh, I don't want to go on testosterone because my balls might shrink a bit. What will my wife think? But I don't think girls really pay attention to ball size, and it's not like it's super super drastic. Like, they're still there. They're not like little raisins. Like, they're still there, but they're 70% smaller maybe. So there's that. But the other thing which I was talking about before is, you can't just go off. Like, there's some drugs have like withdrawal, like if you're taking like opiates and you go off, you're going to get sick and withdraw. Well, you'll come back. Like, if you're in like rehab for like less than a month, you should be relatively okay. With things like steroids, you're potentially going through withdrawal for months and months at a time. It could be, my estimate, anywhere from 3 to 6 months for a lot of people, maybe more depending on how long you've been on it for. Because your gonads are shut down. There's the pituitary gland and hypothalamus in your brain, which controls all of the hormones within your body, including your testicles. And there's something called luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone, and those are completely gone. Like, when I did my last blood test, it's non-existent in my body. So the hormones that are the brain are controlling your gonads are just non-existent. So your gonads shut off because you're introducing exogenous forms of hormones, which I think everybody knows about, but I just wanted to get that aspect out of the way. So you become dependent on it. You become dependent on exogenous testosterone, just like a vampire is dependent on the blood of other people. They have to go sucking blood of other people to kind of stay alive and have their life force. It's essentially a life force that we need to inject in ourselves. So there's that, and with that dependence, you have to be financially stable, because it would suck ass if you become broke as hell for whatever reason and you ran out of testosterone and you're not able to buy it. That would suck so bad. And you got to make sure you have stable sources. That's why I'm going to getting a pharmaceutical prescribed testosterone, because I know it's guaranteed it's going to be there, right? That there's a big sigh of relief over me. So, when imagine you're a vampire and you can't find your next victim and you're like dying, drained and things, like, that's essentially what happens. I hate to keep using that analogy, but it's just a pretty good one. So that's what I'm going to continue doing. The second aspect of dependence it can be a form of dependence for a lot of people, is once they start doing, the secondary and third compounds, and the HGH, and, the Anavar, and potentially Trenbolone, that you'll hit your size and strength gains, which you will want to 100% maintain, because that's your image, right? That's what, and you're kind of addicted to your image. Some people it might be a slight form of narcissism, like when they look at themselves in the mirror a lot and they care about their image to other people. It's that's what aesthetics is, right? Other people, it might just be a matter of performance. You like that. You like to be able to bench 315 pounds for 5 or 10 reps. That'd be pretty nice, right? And if you go off it, go back. If you just go to like a TRT, you might only be able to do it for 1 rep or something, right? So it's like you want to maintain that strength that you have because you worked so hard for your whole life to get there, right? And you just don't want to give it up. So that's a form of dependence as well. Other people are like more addicted. There's a difference between dependence and addiction, but there is some people, I believe, who are more addicted because of the dopaminergic characteristics you get from taking steroids, the drive, you get the well-being, you get the sexual libido effect, you get, all those things. You can be, it is a form of addiction because there's a reward component to it. When you do the steroids, like when you're blasting and things, there's a reward to it, which then the rewards your dopaminergic system, which is a pleasure center in your system, which that's what essentially addiction is. Some are more than others. Some have more of a reward effect than others. But there also is the dependence of, say, as well, like with relationships and things, that, you're getting a lot of attention from women, right? That's a reward because you're more jacked. You're getting guys, people in general are treating you differently, and you like that. You like that. You like how the social effects it has of people treating you differently. Oh, there's some kind of crime scene going on there. There's that. So if you were to potentially go off everything and deflate yourself, you still might be jacked, but you're not going to be like super physiologically jacked per se after a while. Then you might, giving that up it's going to be hard because you're dependent on that. Again, that's more of an image component to it. So that's why a lot of people do get, quote, bitten by the vampire. Is because it is a dependence. Now you're dependent on something that is outside of you. And for a lot of people who are pondering about taking steroids and whether it's right for them, I think that's, for a lot of people, the major kind of hurdle, the major thing to accept. It was for me. It's a commitment, but it's a commitment. But I don't want to say that it's not even necessarily a bad thing. It's not right for everybody, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you are, for one, you gotta be financially stable. 2, you got, it's gotta be part of your goal, whatever that is, fitness goals, mindset. 3, it might be because you're just going on TRT because you're an older person, but then, you might want to boost up to TRT plus, etc., HRT things, because you're an active guy, you want to stay active. And, for me, it's kind of multiple factors, but, I got questioned the other day, why am I taking steroids? Why don't I just do 100 milligrams of TRT a week? It's because, it's a goal-oriented thing, and it is a bit of an experimentation on my part. I'm happy I did it. I'm doing it. I think I'm doing it safely, and that's the other aspect as well. If you're going to do it, you have to have the knowledge. Coaching would be ideal. Don't just listen to some guy on the internet and follow his cycle. Doing 300 milligrams of Trenbolone and a bunch of other stuff a week as your first cycle. That would just be retarded. So that's what I guess I'm going to conclude this video on. Don't be retarded. I'm just joking. But if you do decide to do it, it's a big commitment, and it's a lifelong commitment. Just like, it can be irreversible. Okay? Which, that's scary, but, if you decide to take that step, actually, it's a good. There's a lot of benefits in doing so, as well. Especially if you're an active guy and you want to take your performance up a few notches. But I wouldn't get into it if you're you're an unhealthy guy, or you're not into fitness and things. That would just be counterproductive, and you're committing yourself to something that's not even going to do any benefit to you, really. So I'll leave it there, guys. What are your thoughts on it? I know many of you have taken steroids for some time. How do you feel about that commitment, getting bitten by the vampire again? That analogy, it is something that is very accurate, and something that obviously people talk about, but I like to kind of do deep dives into little nuances on the steroid topics in general, and this is one that I think people need to address head on, if they're, especially the people who are the guys who are and girls who are deciding to commit to taking that major step in life. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave in the comments section below what your thoughts are. Peace.